No, thank you, Morgan. And officially coming to our last question before we go to our newly added segment, passing the mic. We want to ask you, Morgan, you briefly touched on it already, but we really do appreciate all the advice that you've given. What advice would you give someone who's currently applying for jobs? So whether that's they've already graduated, whether that's they're about to graduate, if they're looking for jobs, what advice would you give to them?
Be determined, be mindful of your mental health, and be open to advice around you. But when I say be determined, do not grind yourself into an anxious breakdown or depression. That's what I mean when I say be mindful of your mental health. Give yourself some time off in the evenings when you can avoid, when you've done your work for the day, done your 8 hours in the library or however much you like to do, you've come back, maybe apply for a job if you need to, but give yourself some me time, do something to take your mind off it, because we can't live this lifestyle of grinding yourself to the bone from 8 a.m. to 12 a.m. and then sleep, and then that's the only respite you get. It'll come back and haunt you so badly. I think another thing is don't be tough on yourself as well. Self-love is so important because no one else can. I mean, a partner can love you, but they can only love you so much. You've got to love yourself. And if you're going to beat yourself up for not getting a job or screwing up an interview or screwing up an essay, you are becoming your own worst enemy. And that's sort of that action is going to influence your behavior, and your behavior is going to influence your mindset, and it'll become an ongoing issue for longer. It just comes back to self-love at the end of the day. I'm getting very cheesy now. To end that, I'd say don't go running around like a headless chicken. Take time off when you can, and make as much use of the career advice resources at Brunel as well, like the Brunel Career Center, Professional Development Center. So useful. I was proper arrogant when it came to my CV and interviews at first. I generally thought I had it all because I'm an extrovert and I'm quite good with people, but there's a reason why I was failing every single one. Go to swallow the pill of advice, go to the Brunel Career Center. They will sort you out. I say that.
Perfect, and thank you. And that nicely, I guess, leads to our newly added segment, Mic Check, where we put some interesting facts that relate to the topic. And like you were saying, obviously, I mean, I'm sure in our own personal lives we've seen it, but statistics-wise, so the government have released some statistics about graduates and employment rates. And obviously, since compared to 2019 data, obviously we're still in 2021, so they haven't got data for this year just yet. But obviously last year with the pandemic saw a decrease in employment levels. It wasn't as big as I guess people would expect, but obviously, I'm sure we could all agree in our personal lives. We know people who weren't necessarily working in, whether it was the career or the field that they wanted to work in. So yeah, I think, like you were saying, Morgan, it's being okay with not necessarily working in this field, or, being okay, we're not putting that pressure on yourself to feel like you have to be within this field. You have to be doing this, or you have to be doing that. Just taking life as it comes, and just, if this is the job and you're happy to do this for now, but you're still going to be applying, you're still going to be looking for that dream job, then that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I agree. It's that sideways careers thing. Just because you can't get your dream job now, or is struggle to find it, or find the mental energy to get it. Just remember you're doing it at your own rate, and looking at other people's timelines of success as well. So comparing yourself to others, very bad thing to do when you're anxious. But looking at someone else, look how successful they are. They're 2 years younger than me. They're further ahead in their career. They seem more switched on. Bad thing to do. That's not right. That's someone else's timeline of success. You go at your own timeline, and you go at your own pace, and don't compare yourself to others. Really unhelpful cognitive distortions to do with anxiety.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, now we're going to go on to, as I mentioned before, our newly added segment, Passing the Mic. So now officially I'm going to be passing the mic over to Morgan. Morgan has prepared, as always, with our new series, has prepared a question for us to answer today. So I'm going to hand over to Morgan. Morgan, could you let our audience know what the question you'll be asking us is?
Sure. Oh, finally, this is what power feels like. So my question to both of you is, when you're feeling anxious or depressed or both, what's something that soothes your mind? What's an activity you can do, or what comes to mind?
Okay, I'll go first. I was giving Jeffrey little hand signs, being like, go over it now. Yeah, I think we've sort of already touched upon it a little bit, and definitely the hand pan music does help. But yeah, or just music in general. Just music in general always helps me. I don't know why. It just transports me somewhere else. Not so much movies. Movies doesn't really do it for me, but music definitely does. Exercise, whether it's cycling, tennis, yoga, whatever sport you play, or whatever, even if it's not sport, even if it's just physically doing activity, like going for a run. Runs used to really, really help me. And sometimes it depends on the time of day as well. Like I used to run at like 3 a.m. in the morning, and it used to be the best time of my life. I would literally live for that run. I'd be like loving it. Like there was no one else there. I was the only person in the streets, and I was just running, and it just felt like, almost felt like I owned the streets. Do you know what I mean? Like, there was just no one else there. I was just like, this is just, is it all made for me? But no, I mean, it wasn't. But yeah, it was, yeah, that used to really help clear my mind, because there was nothing else there. I think, like, sometimes being around people means some people can't relax. I can still relax with people around me. I actually find that sometimes, seeing friends, talking to family members on the phone, doing whatever, just having like chilled conversations actually really like chills me out and makes life a little bit easier, creates a connection. It sort of gives you, I guess it gives you that dopamine or whatever it is, as like, you've connected with someone, or you've spoken to someone, and like being a part. Humans just inherently need to be a part of some form of society, family, whatever it is, like a group of friends. It's just like it's a sense of belonging, I guess. And I think, like, it depends what I'm feeling, but like just so many things relax me. And also I took up photography last year.
Nice.
I went into, like, from Brunel. I mean, this podcast isn't just for Brunel people, so any like generic Brunel things that we say, apply it to wherever, like whatever situation you're in. But like, happened to be next to these lakes, and I used to go and I used to take like loads of photos of like animals. Sometimes it would be like, I'd go along the canals and there'd be like people's dogs on the canal boats and stuff like that, or cats, and you could take like, or just taking pictures of just nature. But even just the walks themselves were nice. But yeah, I mean, that's probably what I'd say. There's probably a few more things that I could think of to do, but like overall, just find something you like and really, really get involved in it. Like when I was doing art as well, when I was doing painting, like you just focus on the brush strokes. I didn't think of anything else. Amazing. Like I love not thinking of other things. Anyway, yeah, that's probably it. Sorry, I've gone on for quite a while, but yeah, Jeffrey, it's your turn.
So I'd say for me, so not to, I guess, I agree with Sam. There's some of the things Sam's saying are definitely, I do as well. But I guess to add on what I do as well is that one of the things definitely, like Samuel was saying, was these, and Morgan was saying as well, was these like nature walks. I've got a few parks nearby me, and I know especially over the summer I did it a lot more with my siblings and my family. Obviously now it's at that point of recording, it's December, so it's very cold, so it sort of put me a bit off, but over the summer we would always do like walks. Now those walks would like vary, so sometimes, like especially I guess when it was coming towards winter, me and my brother would just walk around like where we lived, like just walk around the streets a couple of times, just to like talk about anything. Like he was just like, if you were gonna do a Marvel film, who would you cast as this role or this? And I was just like, oh, he's a massive Star Wars fan. So I was just like, oh, tell me a bit about this bit of Star Wars. And he would tell me. And I think that's one of the...
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I think one of the stuff like that is good because it's nice to, like, I guess, and it's similar to what I was going to say as well, is I love sometimes, gaming can be a distraction. I won't lie, as a gamer, I know gaming can be a distraction. I agree on that one, yeah. But it is good to have because even... I mean, I don't know if this is legit science, but like people do say like, when you beat a boss in a video game or you do a driving game and you come first, or you play a game and you're really invested in the story and you do something good, it gives you like a tick box. So you're just like, yeah, I did something. So it means I can now tackle a bigger task. Mm-hmm. And also we mentioned it, I've mentioned it before, that one of the things about like when you guys were talking about music is they were saying that with like gaming music, the way that the music is designed is it's supposed to work with you, like having a task to do. So, if you are, I guess you're a bit anxious about revision and you're just like, how can I make sure it's like staying in my head, or how can I be focused when, there's other distractions? They were saying, gaming music is something that you can listen to because it's designed that, even if someone's talking to you from outside, or if someone is, I don't know, there's like roadworks going on, you can't really concentrate. It's designed to keep you engaged. If you're playing something like, I don't know, trying to think of a game. But all I can think of is literally all I can think of. Yeah, Mortal Kombat. But yeah, even if you're doing like Mortal Kombat and you're trying to beat this one character that you haven't beaten, or you're stuck on a game, you're playing on the hardest difficulty, and you're just like, how can I beat this boss? Yeah, they said music like that just makes you think. Like, it gets you in that mode of thinking and gets you focused. But I would say as well, one of the things that I've loved doing, I did it a lot more last year and this year. Like I took a huge break from it. It was like you were saying, reading. So it was only like last year where essentially I was just like, I spend most of my days in front of the screen. I was like, at this point, I actually just want to have something where I'm not looking at the screen. So what I did is I went back to like previous book series that I had stopped reading. So one of the things that I loved as a child and still love now is Alex Rider. So literally, So literally when they released, I found out that they had released some new books. So I was like, wow, this is perfect time. And literally, it would be like, it wouldn't necessarily be like a full. Like, I sit down, have a whole hour to do reading. But it would just be like whenever the opportunity arose that, if I didn't have any uni work, if I didn't really feel like, using my laptop, sometimes it would be like, I don't know, like 8, maybe even a bit earlier. I'd just be like, you know what? I'm kind of bored of like whether it's watching stuff or just working on something. I was like, let me just take a read, and it's always good. And I'd say find the books that work for you. I know, and not by chance. I promise you, this is just because the book's nearby. I know one of the books I've been reading is this book. It's called Michael Rosen's Book of Play. So I had to read it for an assessment, but that book is like really good because it talks about, I guess, how young people can learn through play and like the history, and he does it in like a really good way of saying like it's the book is your own. So he said, and I don't see a lot of authors who say this, but he was just like, if you disagree with something in my book, cross it out. He was like, I don't care, you paid for it, it's your book. If you want to like draw circles, or like he has bits in his book where he's just like, I want you to like go crazy, like draw. He was just like, draw whatever you want. Like he was like, it can be something you see around you, it can be something you think in your mind, it could be like 2 random words you put together and you just merge them. And yeah, I think that's been like really interesting, and I've really enjoyed reading that book. Like I said, I only did it because of an assessment. But afterwards, I was just like, you know what? I am going to keep reading this because this is really good. So I definitely think reading just helps. And finally, I would say, like Samuel was saying, having those conversations with people, like with family and friends. I know, again, not promoting fika or anything, but one of the things they said was that they do like these conversation fika tables, I think they called it, where they just sit everyone down and you have 2 minutes and you can just talk about whatever you want. So you can talk about, your favorite Marvel moment. You can talk about, why you love gaming or this or that or whatever. And I think, I know a lot of even societies on campus, I know do that as well. Online, they do that. And it's good. I think more, just not thinking about, I'm not saying, don't think about what you're doing. Like if you've got a deadline, pushing it to the last minute and pushing it away is bad. You don't want to be one of the quotes I remember from secondary school was one of our deputy head teachers was just like, you don't want to be like an ostrich and put your head in the sand and just wait until things become easier. But no, you just, sometimes it's good to just, for a moment, just pause and just be like, I'm actually gonna do something else, or I'm going to talk with my family about something else and just do that for the rest of the evening and come back at it the next day. I know listening to, so there's last point is, I know there are two instances I've heard this, but it was basically the same thing. So first off, I heard it was, there's another podcast that my sister loves and I've started listening to it called Jesus and Jollof. It's by these two Nigerian American, one's an actor called Yvonne Orji, who's in a TV show called Insecure, so people might know her from there. And another one is called Lovey. She does a lot of like writing stuff and like news like writing stuff as well. And they were talking about it, and they were saying that like they, I guess, with their journey to get where they were, it wasn't like an easy path. Like Morgan was saying, there were a lot of like points where it was to the side. I know Yvonne was saying that there was like points where she basically became really broke. She couldn't really even afford where she was living. She had to live with a friend. But she said like one of the things that she learned, I guess, from that experience is sometimes the best thing you can do with like a situation of where like, when you're worried, you're just anxious, your thoughts are going crazy. So one of the best things you can do is just sleep on it. Just be like, I can't, like me stressing, me worrying about it isn't going to fix it. It's not going to fix it today. I'm just going to, go to bed, wake up tomorrow, and I'm going to tackle it again. And you know what? If it doesn't work tomorrow and I can't think of something, I'm not going to stress about it. I'm just going to take it one day at a time. And I know even my brother was saying, again, bringing it back to gaming, he says a lot when I do gaming. But like one of the key things that he said to me was that sometimes, you can't beat that gaming boss that day. Sometimes you just need to pause, just, accept that, it's not happening today, and just come back in.
Rage quit. Rage quit.
Chuck the controller across the room.
Yeah, smash the TV, man.
But no, it's true. Just like being like, what, it's not going to happen today. And it doesn't matter if I cram, try to revise for this exam and I'm just sitting here for an hour, just reading my notes, or I'm listening to the lecture, or I'm making new notes. Sometimes you genuinely just have to be like, I've done as much as I can today. I'm not going to stress. I'm going to leave it where it is, tackle it tomorrow, and then go from there. Because some things we can't do if we're just like, as much as we want it to be done today, you just can't do. So sometimes you just got to be like, I'm going to take a break, I'm going to sleep on it, and then tackle it the next day.
Yeah. You never know, like you might have like an epiphany as well. Like sometimes.
Do you mean epiphany?
Oh,
you're calling out my English. I know. I don't know what's happened to it. I think it's called COVID brain fog or something. I don't know. But yeah, no, it's and also sometimes you're just tired, and then the next day you can just go for hours and hours and hours. You don't even feel it. Like sometimes it's really strange with like, I remember when I was doing essays, sometimes I'd wake up, I'd have had like so much sleep, I'd feel like I wasn't tired at all. I'd try and do work and my brain was just like, nah, not today. And then you go the next day and just suddenly like you can just do it for hours. And I didn't even have to like take a break. I was just still doing it. I was just like, what's going on? Like this, it shouldn't work like this. But basically just go with whatever works for you.
Yeah, I got to say that was beautiful, Jeffrey. That was really, really like profound. Like some of the stuff you were saying there, especially the video games thing. That's one thing I forgot to mention. The video games are really good for like just for your brain. They release feel good chemicals when you get stuff done. If there's one thing I could add though, is there's this saying that like if you've got a big decision, I'll just sleep on it. Like one thing they forget to add when they say that though is before you go to bed, do some like breathing exercises or some mindfulness, or just have like an hour before where you can just like either focus on your thoughts or just zone out and focus on your breathing. Because I think sometimes if you go to bed whilst you've got something really stressful on board, you might fall asleep, but your anxiety, the cortisol flooding through your body is going to make you have like a really bad sleep. So sleep on it, but do some breathing beforehand. Do some mindfulness or meditation if you can.
So true. And even like you're saying with the video game thing, like one thing I did forget to add was they did say, people were talking about through the pandemic how like gaming helped them and how it gave them like the opportunity to think, I guess it's nice to be some of these bigger games, maybe not necessarily no shots fired to any Fortnite or Apex Legend players, but it might not necessarily be with that, but like games where you're involved in a story. I know Samuel has played it. Games like Witcher.
Witcher is an
awesome game.
Yeah.
And like being invested in a game where it's not necessarily like a quick one and done, or like 30 minutes of running, gunning, shooting, breaking down. Like sometimes having a story where if there's characters, your choices will affect like the outcome of the story. Things like that can be really good. And I know that there were loads of articles written by like people who play games, because they were saying like as a individual, they were just like whether they had to self-isolate or they couldn't go out because of restrictions. They said like playing games like gave them that opportunity to like go and explore these new worlds, or go and do things that they couldn't necessarily do in real life. And I think that's so key.
It's a great escape. And actually, The Witcher 3 was the last game I ever played. I played this years ago. I don't know how many years ago now. Probably like 3-4 years ago. Maybe even 5. No, but maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Last game I ever played, but I ended it on a high because it was like the best. You go into the world, you don't think about anything else, and it's like the decisions you're making and whatever. And it was just so fun. But I was just like, after that, I was like, it can't be beaten. So I've never played again. I've actually never played a game since. It was like I found it like so soothing to just like go in and just play that game. So I get where you're coming from. It is. Yeah. So many teachers on this podcast today. Like
so many gamers on this podcast. Board games are pretty good as well. Like, doesn't always have to be video games. There are some pretty good board games out there that you say if you do go into another lockdown and playing with your flat or your family, that's a really good thing, because I think sometimes if you're just eating or drinking, that can, I don't know, lead to drama. But if you've got a board game, it's just something to work on. Unless it's Monopoly, because that always leads to drama after about the 4th hour where someone rage quits.
Monopoly rage quitting is
it's a real thing. It's a real thing.
The first person that loses is always just like, oh, what the hell? Like, and then everyone's playing for like a few hours and they're just like, what do I even do? I'm bankrupt.
Just go sleep on it, I guess.
but no, you're right about the board games. Even I know there's like, I guess for anyone who might be living by themselves and can't necessarily do it because it's self-isolating, I know that there's one that Samuel shared with us as a team. It's called Doodle or Doddle.
Double. Is it Double?
Double. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that one's cool.
Yeah, and that's been really good. I know, especially like this time last year when when us as I guess STEM ambassadors were all working from home, it was good to do. Even when like me, Samuel, and I and some other friends just did like a cool. It was always a fun thing to do, and it's good to like I guess do these interactions and stuff. And I guess to end this like question is one of the queries. I'm a massive Xbox fan, as you can tell by my top. Nicely saying, I'll push it down a bit. Nicely saying Xbox, but. Nice. One of the things that I love, you see Samuel just covering it. He can't deal with Xbox. But one of the things.
Cover yourself up, Jeffrey.
Have you no modesty?
Yeah, have I no modesty? One of the things I did love though. So it's the 20th anniversary of Xbox this year. One of the videos that they did, I guess, to celebrate that was they were talking about, I guess, how. And it's not only for Xbox, PC gaming, and Sony and Nintendo do this as well. Is like how people have, I guess, made friends. Gone through stuff, met partners, and done like loads of things through just online gaming. And they were saying that like that's like a key thing, and I really like that video because it showed that you don't necessarily. I mean, I'll be surprised if someone. Found their boss was playing a game and they got a job through whether it's Xbox Live or PlayStation Network.
That's a good bit of advice.
Yeah, good bit of. You never know.
But one of my friends from school, she met the love of her life, who's from Sweden. She moved over there to live with him, and they're happily together. She met him through World of Warcraft.
Wow.
Can you believe it? Honestly,
What a love story.
yeah, what a love story. Take that, Hinge and Tinder and OkCupid. World of Warcraft's where it's at.
Yeah, but no, it's true, and I think that's a key thing to do. That especially when we're going through, I guess, like stuff together. So like with the pandemic, it affects everyone. It can be good to have know that there's people that you can go to online who might be going through the same thing, and might be be cool to just to listen. But yeah, we've now come on to our last segment before the episode ends, which is of course the MC of the Month segment. And for this episode, we're highlighting, I think Morgan has rightly highlighted a previous MC of the Month, Brunel's Professional Development Center. And as Samuel was saying, each university usually has their own development center. So it might not necessarily be called Professional Development Center, but they'll have like something that can help them with the careers. And I guess before we go on to the MC for this episode, is good to highlight that for any recent Brunel graduates, up to 3 years of you graduating, you can still use their services. So if you haven't used them before, you still can if you've recently graduated in the last 3 years. But I guess on a broader sense, for anyone, now this particularly works for, STEM students, so students doing science, technology, engineering, and maths related degrees. But there are a lot of like non-science, non-STEM related ones as well, such as LinkedIn is one example. But the MC for this month are Gradcracker. Now, for anyone who doesn't know about Gradcracker, like I said, they are a careers website specifically tailored for students studying science, technology, engineering, and maths subjects or related subjects. They have a lot of employees there who put up STEM specific employment, work placements, graduate opportunities, and it's really good because it gives you as a student the opportunity to see, especially if you're a STEM student, the areas that you can work in. So they've essentially divided it into 8 different areas on their website. So they have aerospace, chemical / processing, civil / building, computing / technology, electronics / electrical, maths / analytics, mechanical / manufacturing, and lastly, science. Now, the really great thing about this in general is, as people know, as a podcast, we do work a lot with Brunel's Environmental Science Society. And there are societies not only at Brunel, but also, if you're listening and you go to another university, STEM societies basically have the opportunity to be highlighted on this on their website. So the great thing is, if you're a part of, let's say, the Environmental Science Society, or if you're a STEM society at the university, and maybe there isn't, no one at your university does work with you. Essentially, the reason why it's great is you can go on your society's Gradcracker page, and you can see like which employers are interested with working with that organization. Now, like I said, we work closely with Environmental Science Society at Brunel. And just to name a few that have said, they like the society and they're interested in members of our society. That includes Toyota, Transport for London, and Bayes System, just to name a few. But it's a great thing. So even if you as a student want to, get in contact with them, you can say, I'm actually a member of this society. And they might be like, oh, wow, you're a member of the society. This is great. We saw some of the amazing work that the society does. Have you been a part of it? So it gives you that, I guess, way to get into it. But as I said, if you're not a STEM student, there are ones like LinkedIn and other related, sources. And, Morgan has nicely mentioned some of them before. So please do check them out because they can be very useful, essentially. But yeah, those are MCs for the month. I think Samuel wants to say something, so I'll pass.
I was going to say honestly, that's amazing. So the fact that you've managed to find that out and share it. But yeah, people check it out because you can't lose anything, can you? You can't lose anything by having a look, and you might find your dream job there. So yeah.
100%. 100%, man. And I think I'm not sure about this, so don't hold me accountable. But I think you do have the opportunity to, like LinkedIn, follow organizations on there. So you can just be like, oh, I might not necessarily want to get in contact with them yet, but I'll follow them. So if there are any job opportunities or if they have any events, I could be made aware of. Gradcracker themselves, actually, if you follow them, I believe their social media is Gradcracker. But if you follow them, they actually post regularly, I know, especially on Twitter, about events that they do. They don't necessarily only just do it, I guess, like, oh, this organization has agreed to talk to us. Come and listen to what they said. They do stuff like, what you need to be aware of if you're going to do a work placement or if you're applying for one. What do you need to do if with your interviews, whether you're doing like an in-person one or an online one or things like that. So they offer like a wide range of resources that I would definitely recommend for anyone. And like I said, if you are part of a society or a society that isn't on their website, because I know even from Gradcracker themselves, they said that there aren't that many, universities within the UK that are on there. Do mention something, because it is always a great thing that you can say that, hey, members, you might be interested in knowing that employers do look at the work that we do. So if you are involved with something, you can contact someone who's liked our page. But yeah, those are essentially our MCs of the month.
LinkedIn as well. And actually, I was going to say, you can actually join groups on LinkedIn. So let's say you want to go into psychology, you can join like the London psychology job whatever thing, and
that's interesting,
or just a general one, and you can join that network, see what people post. Some people post like, I've got this job, like this job is going, this is the community, or it's just a way of being put in touch with people in the industry, and people share stuff on there, people chat, people share stuff about their company. So it's actually a great way in to look for. But yeah, sorry, I've joined a few groups myself, but I just remembered when you said LinkedIn that actually, if you're looking for jobs, and even in other countries, you could even say like, like the psychology in Paris or whatever, like, and then there's literally a way that you could like jump across without even knowing anyone. Obviously you've got to speak French and all
yeah, you don't.
And now Brexit. So anyway, but yeah, like, if you're fortunate enough to be able to, then yeah.
No, that's quite handy. Meetup also has something similar as well. Meetup's kind of like an app, or if you're on a browser, you can use it on there for just events. But there's a lot of professional development events on there, and that's a great opportunity for networking. The catchword of the podcast. But yeah, Meetup is really useful for that as well.
Yeah, no, it's so true. There are loads out there for anyone, I guess, listening that do give you, access to connect with employers and, learn more about what they're doing. And yeah, the group thing, I know I'm a part of I don't know the title at the top of my head, but there's like a sustainability one. And I know also, that's a key thing to mention, that a lot of universities might have like alumni ones. Now, I know Brunel itself has like the alumni network, which is their main thing that you can connect with your, Brunel account. You can connect it with, your LinkedIn account. So it's got all the same information there. But I do know that is something that Brunel students have access to, but there might be some, if you go to another university, that they have like a group for members, for alumni, or they might have like a graduate group, things like that. So yeah, please do make sure that you do check out to just see, because like we said, you never know, that might lead to a job in the end. But yeah, we've essentially now come to the end of the episode. I just want to first start off by saying a huge thanks to Morgan for coming onto the podcast today. We really enjoyed learning from you. Thank you very much.
The pleasure's all mine. You and Samuel are absolutely amazing hosts, and I find your podcast really inspirational when I've been listening to it these past few months. I've got to admit, I haven't been listening to season 2 just yet, but I'll be smacking that on my radio tomorrow, and just keep doing what you guys are doing. I love you both.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Morgan. Honestly, it's been great having you on here, and like you've actually given people like so much to think about and like take home with them, like all your techniques, your CBT, the way that you're approaching anxiety, depression. Like honestly, people can really relate to that and take it back. So you're doing something. You're doing something amazing. Like just spreading that word. So yeah, thank you so much for being on.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me, guys. You've been lovely.
No, you're welcome, Morgan. And as always, if you do want to, I guess, see some more additional content we might be doing with Morgan, subscribing to Patreon is the quickest way to get access to that. If you did like the episode, a like, comment, and subscribe is always appreciated. And make sure you press that bell notification so you don't miss the next episode. But yeah, this has been a great episode. Really enjoyed it. Thanks again, Morgan, for being on the show. Thanks again, our wonderful audience, for listening. And we will see you all in the next episode. Pick up the mic. So that's bye from us here, and have a wonderful day.